Okay, guys. So I'm sorry for the Zoom difficulties this morning, but it is statewide. So it is not just Mrs. Knott's having problems. Okay, so we are going to be on page 284. We are looking at lesson 7. Equivalent ratios have the same unit rates. Okay, and again, remember, unit rates means price per one. So the dollars per burrito is what we're looking at. So right now we know 2 burritos cost $14. Complete the table to show the cost for 4, 5, and 10 burritos. And then we need to find out how much it costs for a single burrito in every single case. Okay? So I know I have 2 burritos. I know it costs $14 per burrito. I want to know how much am I going to pay per burrito. So what is my unit price for each burrito? So what I would do is what we've done in the past. I would take my cost per my burritos, which is $14, and I would divide it, because that's what a fraction bar means, by my 2 burritos. So when we were doing our equivalent ratios, it's the same thing. What do I do to 2 burritos to get down to 1 burrito? I'm going to divide by 2. So same thing. If I divide 2 burritos by 2 to find out for 1 burrito, I would take my total cost, which is 14, and divide that by 2. And I would get 7. So for 2 burritos and the cost was $14, I would pay $7 per burrito. Let's look at the next one. So the next one, we're going from 2 burritos to 4 burritos. So what we've been doing in our tables already. What do I need to do to 2 to get to 4? I'm going to double it, or I'm going to multiply it by 2. So if I multiply 2 by 2, I would get 4. And I'm going to keep that same idea for my cost. Because again, this is only the price, $14 for 2 burritos. Now I need to find the price for 4 burritos. So if I'm doubling my total burritos, I'm going to also double my cost, or times it by 2. And I would get 28. Same thing. I want to take my cost in dollars and divide it by my number of burritos, because I want to know how many or how much I'm paying per burrito. It's kind of like if you have a family of 4 and you're going out to dinner and each one of you get burritos and your parents get the bill and it was $28, and your parents want to know, well, how much do we pay for each burrito? How much was it? You would want to know how much did your mom pay, your dad pay, you pay, and your sister pay. So how much did it cost your parents for each burrito? So 28 divided by 4 would give me, interesting, 7. Would you look at that? Okay, so now we're going to go for 5 burritos. But I really can't go from 2 or 4 to 5, so I'm going to go to 10 first. And so I have to think, what am I going to do to 2 to get to 10? So I know my number's getting bigger, so I'm going to multiply. I would multiply 2 by 5 to get to 10. And if I multiply 2 by 5 to get to 10, I also must multiply 14 by 5. 14 times 5 is 70. Same thing. I'm going to take my number of, or my cost of my burritos divided by the number that I have. And 70 divided by 7 would be $7. This is very, very interesting. Now that I know my price for 10 burritos, I can figure out my price for 5 burritos. So what do I do to 5 to get, or excuse me, what do I do to 10 to get to 5? I would divide by 2 or cut it in half. So if I cut 10 in half, I would get 5. So that means I have to cut 70 in half, and I would get 35. Exact same thing. If I have 5 people and I paid $35, how much would I pay per burrito? So 35 divided by 5 would be 7. Man, this is pretty interesting. Very, very interesting. So I want you guys to look at a couple patterns right now. I can see that my cost in dollars divided by my number of burritos would give me my price per burrito, or my unit rate. So number of burritos, 2 burritos times $7 would give me my total. That's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. You can also switch it around too. If I have my cost in dollars, I can divide it by my unit rate to find out how many burritos I would have. It's pretty cool. So if I'm looking down my right-hand column, I'm seeing that my unit price per burrito did not change whatsoever. I didn't go to a new burrito place. I stayed at the same place. I'm ordering the same kind of burrito every single time. So that means my unit price or that cost for that burrito is never going to change. Okay? It's always going to be that $7. And as you can see here, I have a B. That B is a variable. That means it's standing in for a number, but we don't know what that number is. The number could be 100. It could be 1,000,000. It could be 3. It's just saying, I don't know how many burritos I need, but I can find the cost or write an expression to find the total. So any other time we did my unit price times my number. So 2 times 7 gave me my cost. 4 times 7 gave me my cost. 5 times 7 gave me my cost. 10 times 7 gave me my cost. You're not changing here, guys. Literally, I know it's weird, but B times 7. That means no matter how many burritos I put in there or substitute it for the B, I would still just multiply it by 7. Okay. Good job. All right. So, again, what do we notice about the values in this table? We literally just went over that, and you guys got a really good explanation. We're going to skip number 3, and we're going to go right to 7.3, okay? I'm just going to go over these ones because these are the most important ones. Okay, so for this one, same thing. We have our time in hours, we have our number of bracelets, and we have our speed. So in the last table, we had to figure out what our speed was, or not our speed, our unit price. This one, they already give us our unit price. They're saying this person can make 6 bracelets in 1 hour. So remember, per means 1. So we have to find the number of bracelets for a couple and then the time in hours for a couple. Okay, so just like we did before, if I have 2 hours, how many bracelets could I make in that 2 hours? Think about it. If in 1 hour I can make 6, how many could I make in 2? So I could skip count, I could draw another table, I could do a number line, or I can use what we did before and take your time in hours and multiply it by your speed. 2 times 6 is 12. So that means she could make, or he could make 12 bracelets in 2 hours. I'm going to keep that same thought process. If I have 5 hours and I make 6 bracelets in 5 hours, 5 times 6 is 30. Again, 7 hours, 6 bracelets an hour. And again, you can skip count like 6, 12, 18, yada, yada, all the way until you count it 7 times, or just multiply it. 7 times 6 is 42. Now, this is where it changes. Now we're given the total number of bracelets and the speed still. Well, if we multiply our time by our speed, we can get the number of bracelets. So now we have to do the opposite or inverse operation of that, which would be division. So I would do my number of bracelets divided by my speed to find out how long that's going to take. So 66 divided by 6 is 11. So that means if I kept counting, I would hit by my 11th finger, 11th column, or any of that, I would have 66. Same thing here. For 100 bracelets, 6 bracelets per hour, I would get 16 and 67 hundredths, or 16.67. And yes, that's Mrs. Knott's rounding the second to the nearest hundredth. Or if you wrote that as a fraction, it would be 16 2/3.